country that for decades has experienced civil war, economic hardship,
Australian history that has taken place on our shores.
Economic downturn and described as shocking. According to Rate City, 30 banks Lebanon, a country that for decades has experienced civil war, economic hardship, violence, complex coalitions of power, and widespread street protests. 2005 was a particularly bloody year in Lebanon's recent history. On the 4th of February that year, its former Prime Minister Rafik Hariri was killed in a car bomb in the capital Beirut. He had been an opponent of the 30-year presence of Syrian troops in Lebanon. His murder plunged the country into its worst crisis since the Lebanese Civil War. In Hariri's last year, a columnist at a leading Lebanese newspaper, Samir Kassir, continuously condemned Syria's presence in Lebanon. In April 2005, Syrian forces pulled out of Lebanon for good, with Samir Kassir becoming a prominent leader in the movement of change. It was hoped this would be the start of a new era. But his life was in grave danger because of his outspoken views. And in June 2005, he was killed by a car bomb outside his place of work. Again, this ignited huge protests. Join me next week for more on Lebanon's political change throughout the years. Parramatta Park is one of Australia's most significant historical areas. It's home to more than 100 archaeological sites relating to Aboriginal history. It's also home to 11 Australian convict sites listed on the UNESCO World Heritage Register. But not all memorial sites depict Australian history that has taken place on our shores. This memorial site is one that not many people know about. It goes back to 1899 when the first Australian troops arrived in Africa to take part in the Second Boer War in support of Britain. They were fighting the Afrikaners for their gold and diamonds being mined in the Orange Free State. Sadly, over 600 Australian soldiers died there, and this landmark, the Boer War Memorial, was erected in 1904 to honour the memory of the deceased soldiers. There's so much history here in Parramatta Park, and I'm so looking forward to exploring it with you today. Good morning, this is Tharshini Ashokan with today's Finance Report. Savers have been dealt a major blow with the Big Four banks slashing savings rates, a move being fueled by the COVID-19 economic downturn and described as shocking. According to Rate City, 30 banks have taken a knife to interest rates since the RBA cut, with the average ongoing savings rate across the banking sector now sitting at 0.46%. Westpac is advertising the highest conditional savings rate out of the Big Four at 0.75%, while Commonwealth Bank is offering the lowest at 0.45%. Moving to the markets, the ASX has leapt to heights not seen since February before the coronavirus pandemic took hold, shrugging off negative leads from overseas markets. The S&P ASX 200 closed 0.45% stronger at 6,531, while the All Ords Index put on 0.4% to 6,727. That's a 9-month high from indicated figures last seen in late February. The Big Four banks played a big part in the gains, with ANZ up 1.34% to $22.01, Commonwealth Bank adding 2.87% to $77.55, National Australia Bank rising 2.06% to $22.29, and Westpac appreciating 2.26% to $19.45. The Aussie dollar was fetching 72.95 US cents by afternoon trade.